If Allah has no gender, why is Allah always, quote, he? Engineer Muhammad Ali Mirza argues that atheists often misunderstand Islam. Rather than respond to every objection he discusses, I want to focus on a single question that has always fascinated me. Muslims insist that Allah has no biological sex. Fair enough. That is the official doctrine. My question is different. If Allah truly transcends gender, why is he presented exclusively in masculine terms? Imagine an imam giving a Friday sermon and repeatedly saying, "She is the most merciful. She created the heavens and the earth. She alone deserves worship." I suspect many Muslims would immediately feel that something had gone seriously wrong. But why? If he is merely a consequence of Arabic grammar and not an actual description of Allah, then replacing the English pronoun with she should be unusual at most, not something that feels irreverent. That reaction itself deserves examination. The standard response is that Arabic requires grammatical gender, and that the Quran consistently uses the masculine singular pronoun. That explains the Arabic grammar. It does not explain why English-speaking Muslims continue to insist on he when they could simply say Allah, God, or the Creator. Nor does it explain why calling Allah she is effectively off-limits. What interests me is the cumulative pattern. Allah is always He. Allah is King. Allah is Lord. Allah is Judge. The presentation is consistently masculine. Even after the judgment against Banu Qurayza, when Sa'd ibn Mu'adh ordered the execution of the fighting men and the enslavement of the women and children, Muhammad approved his decision by saying, quote, "You have judged according to Allah's judgment," while another authentic wording reads, quote, "You have judged according to the judgment of the king." This is in Sahih al-Bukhari 4121. Whether one agrees with that judgment or not isn't my point here. My point is that even the titles used for Allah continue the same masculine presentation. Then there's Surah An-Najm, verses 21 to 22. Quote, "Is the male for you and the female for him? That, then, is an unfair division." Muslims explain that this exposes the pagans' hypocrisy because they preferred sons while attributing daughters to Allah. I understand that interpretation, but I still notice that the rhetoric works by appealing to a very human understanding of sons, daughters, and honor. This is the same standard I have applied throughout my channel. If a perfect transcendent communicator wanted humanity to understand that God is beyond human sex and gender, I would expect him to communicate that with exceptional clarity. For example, he could have said, quote, "Do not think of me as male or female, I transcend both." Instead, Revelation consistently reinforces one presentation, and it is masculine. This doesn't prove that Islam by itself is false, but it does raise a question that I don't think Muslims answer satisfactorily. If Allah truly has no gender, why has his revelation led generations of believers to speak of him exclusively as, quote, he, to instinctively reject, quote, she, and to surround him with consistently masculine titles and imagery? To me, that looks much more like the product of a human religious culture than the communication strategy I would expect from a timeless, gender transcendent God.